Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Siti Fatimah Az-zahra, and I'm a moderator from Vernacular group. And will present the material about language imperialism analysis on Twitter at English Fest. And here, our group member consists of Silvadia Maharani Rahman, Mulia Rahman, Syahdina Tamadyan, Siti Fatimah Az-zahra, and Pricillia Febrianty. And this is the table of contents of our presentation. Today's presentation, the first one is introduction. The second one is analysis of example. The third one is pedagogical implication, conclusion, and the last one is references. The first one is introduction to the topic, the concept of the topic, and then define what is language imperialism will be presented by Pricillia. So Pricillia, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, moderator, for giving me the time. So in this section is about introduction to the topic. It consists of 2 points. The first point is the concept of the topic, and the second one is the authentic examples. So the concept of the topic, what is language imperialism? So the domination, hegemony, and predominance of one language over others is referred to as language imperialism. It also known as linguistic nationalism and linguistic dominance. It is such a broad idea that encompasses everything from imposing one language through conquest and occupation on others to the dissemination of cultural values and ways of thinking through language instruction. It is a result or a natural outcome of social, cultural, military, economic, and political power rather than something that arises on its own. In more simplified words, language imperialism can be defined as a phenomenon where a language dominates the other language. So that's the concept of language imperialism. We're gonna move to the next point, is about authentic examples. Next slide, please. So in this session, we provide 2 examples of language imperialism. The first one is one of the best known example is the spread of English around the world. English as lingua franca has been considered as a language imperialism. So why? Because it can be caused by a lot of factors. So a lot of countries are impacted by the spread of English, including our country, Indonesia. So English influences almost all of sectors such as economy, politics, education, and so on. Nowadays, in Indonesia, English has been an important thing to learn, although English is still as a foreign language. And English became the standard to judge people. For example, a person will be considered as smart if she or he can speak or understand English, or people that can understand or speak English are considered as well-educated people. Many people argue that the spread of English is a form of language imperialism. However, there are also people who believe that English is not a language imperialism. And the second example is the spread of Spanish in South America. South America's primary language is Spanish, and in the 16th and 17th century Spanish explorers now reside in Mexico and Colombia. Despite the fact that the language originated in Spain, language colonialism is clearly present in these regions. So I think that's all I can present. I give it back to moderator.
All right, thank you, Pricillia, for a very great explanation. It's very clear. Now you know the introduction to the topic, but that's not enough because we will move to the next subtopic. This is about methodology and rational. What method and how we choose that method will presented by Mulia Rahman. So to Mulia, time is yours.
All right, thank you, moderator, for the time. I am Mulia Rahman, and here I would like to explain the methodology and rationale of the data. The methodology that we use for analyzing the data is from the Philipson theory in 1992. This method identifies the symptoms of language imperialism by using three types of arguments. The three types of arguments are intrinsic, extrinsic, and functional. The intrinsic arguments describe English as providential, rich, noble, and interesting. The extrinsic argument indicate that English is well established, while the functional argument emphasizes the usefulness of English as a gateway to the world. All right, we move to the rational. Why we choose this methodology, apart from the expert, this method was chosen because it fits the case being analyzed. Philipson himself is an expert who agrees that English is included in the language of imperialism. Thus, the three types of arguments raised are credible methods used as analytical tools. All right, that's all that I can say. Thank you. Back to the moderator.
All right, thank you, Mulia. Such a great explanation. Now we're going to the next topic. It is about the analysis. Will be presented by Silvadia Maharani Rahman. To Silvadia, stage is yours.
All right, thank you so much, Zahra, for the opportunity. So here it is. We have three analyses. As Mulia explained before, we have intrinsic, extrinsic, and functional arguments. In here, we can see there are several tweets that we take from replies on English Fast Twitter. So English Fast itself is an account in Twitter that explained or show something that related with English. So everybody can share or ask or discuss anything related to English on this space. First, in here, I take some examples where the main topic is what do you think about English, or why do you learn English, or what is the reason that you learn English. In here, in intrinsic arguments, we found that there are several here. One of them said that English is fun and she thinks she can be a cool person if she understands English. Also, there are he think that people who can speak English are cool. And then another said that English is a very beautiful and aesthetic language, which refer or show into the intrinsic arguments that say that they see English as a prestige and noble language, because they believe that speaking English or can know English is cool and the language itself is beautiful. Next slide, please. Okay, in the extrinsic argument, it's related with what English has. So there are several reasons for they to use and learn English. It's because they needs or interests are in English. So it becomes the source or something that help them or support them college life or academic life or for entertainment. For example, here they learn English to enjoy the entertainment and understand memes. Also want to educate myself because a lot of studies only available in English. So it means English can be a source of knowledge. It's also supported with the next one. He said that most of my college books are in English. Also, last one, she said English that widen your knowledge, not only the language, but also cultural, social, and other. Also, we can understand it when we watch movies, series, and even read novel. Next slide, please. All right, the last one is functional arguments. It relates with how or what English does since it provides access or as a gateway to the world and support their career. Here, several people also said that they learn and use English to live, work, and study in abroad, especially in English-speaking countries. And then another said that speak English is very useful in career world. And then another one is I want to understand how people to communicate. So I learned the tool that necessary for the job. So we can conclude that people use English to support their career world, and they think it's one of the tools so they can get a better job or the necessary job to fit in the world. I think that's all that I can say. Thank you so much. I give it back to the moderator.
Thank you, Silva, for a very great explanation. And after we know the cases and we analyze that, we have to know about the impact of language imperialism. And this subtopic will be presented by Syahdina. To Syahdina, the stage is yours.
All right, thank you to the moderator to give me the time. After we analyze the examples, now we're going to see the pedagogical implication, in this case as a teacher, as a language student, and in a wider context. Okay, the first is, are the English language teachers promoters of linguistic imperialism? As a teacher, language imperialism. English language teachers may be promoting the learning of English as a global language. It does not necessarily mean that they are promoting linguistic imperialism. It all depends on how English is being taught and used. English language teacher can promote linguistic diversity and inclusivity by, first is being sensitive to the linguistic backgrounds of their students, and the second one is avoiding linguistic bias and promoting respect for all languages. And the last one is creating a classroom environment that celebrates linguistic and cultural diversity and promotes inclusivity. It all depends on how they approach the teaching of English and their attitudes towards other languages and cultures. The second one is as a language student. As a language student, students can avoid, students can avoid promoting linguistic imperialism by being respectful of other languages, using the language that you are learning in a respectful way, promoting linguistic diversity and being culturally aware. It means that we may be learning English or any other dominant global language. And however, learning a global language doesn't necessarily mean that you are promoting linguistic imperialism. In this case, as a student, we can avoid promoting linguistic imperialism by respect other languages and cultures, just like as a teacher. And the last one is in wider context. In wider context, promoting linguistic imperialism can have negative consequence for society, such as the loss of linguistic and cultural diversity. However, there are some ways in which promoting linguistic diversity can have a also positive impact by preserving cultural heritage and promoting inclusivity, fostering cross-cultural communication, and creating new opportunities. Also, the language imperialism can have wide-ranging implication for society as a whole. It is important to recognize and address the impact of a language imperialism in order to promote linguistic and cultural diversity. I think that's all from me. I give it back to moderator.
Thank you, Syahdina, for nice presentation, nice explanation. Now we move to the conclusion of this topic. Language imperialism is the influential language transfer to other nations. This transfer of language is considered as a proof of power, not only through military power, but also through economic, social, political, and cultural power. And it is very important for language teachers like us, as well as students, to take the stand in dealing with this language imperialism, as well as for the general public, because promoting language imperialism can eliminate language and cultural diversity. So, thank you for your attention. I think enough for us. If you have any question, you can ask in the WhatsApp group. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.